Everybody, welcome back. This is introduce first. Okay, I was going to say what we were talking about.
Ladies before gentlemen, of course.
This, can I introduce you, for those who don't know us, this is the best man that walks this planet. He has been a very bad boy in the past, redeemed himself, reinvented himself, and this is Ozay Tulku Rinpoche, my husband.
Yay! It's me.
Yes.
And may I welcome you to the most beautiful, scrumptious, yum wife. Ahiranta. She's just great at everything. Great in bed. She's great cooking. She's great doing the housework. She does all my ironing. She buys me all these clothes.
I never iron.
She does everything for me.
Never iron.
And that magic basket is, I put something in there and it just disappears, and then suddenly it's all ironed and it's in my
It's
bedroom.
not true, people. He take care of me. Yeah.
I just copy my mate Craig Goodnight. He always says that about his magic basket and his wife and
But
stuff.
she truly does everything.
Yes, she do, yeah.
Yeah, Jane does everything.
Hi, Jane.
Hello, Jane.
Sod that old wanker that you're living with.
Okay, this is the introduction
Yeah.
of the second out of the series of 6 we spoke about in our first talk about running away. That was the first one in the series.
Yeah.
And today we would like to talk about spirit guides from the past.
Yeah, it's interesting actually.
Yes.
How we kind of accidentally fall into something, because talking about Craig, and spirit guides, well, Craig Hamilton Parker, Jane Hamilton Parker, they are well-known spiritual mediums.
Very good mediums,
Did the
yes.
TV AM show or something like that.
Yeah.
Jane was great, but Craig, he was a bit...
They will be in theatre soon. Check it out.
Yeah. On The Point, isn't it?
So, I'm not sure, but somewhere in Southampton, is it? Or Bournemouth? Sorry, just check it out on their website. They will be in theatre soon, so you can see them live.
Yeah. Anyway, well, the reason that brought me a spirit guide and Craig and Jane, and I remember sitting in a circle, and Darren, one of the guys who we sat in the circle with, he, I would often pick up a lot of his stuff for some reason. We had a good connection, I guess. Well, I had a good connection with Darren, and sometimes I would see like a cartoon character. It looked like an Indian, brown-faced, like if though somebody had painted it, and not really done very good with the contours and the colours. The colours, if you're an artist, you have to get those, things right, like the shades and where the light hits you in a certain way. But cartoon characters, they don't have none of that. And I would see this Indian, and after a while, a few circles sitting, I'd say to Dan, look, I keep seeing this Indian, but it looks like a cartoon character, to be honest with you. And he said, yeah, that's my Indian guide, is Brown Bear, something like that.
My spirit guide.
Spirit guide, yeah.
Yeah.
And that sort of set me to thinking, trying to understand things. And of course, when I start thinking, I ponder, and then I relate it to other things in my past life that I understood, and maybe I'll bring a bit of my memories of my past lives into it and things like that. And so what is a spirit guide? And well, people have eagles, and they have like the shamans, they have animals, they have wolves, and the spirit goes into them and they come back to them, manifest as messages and things. So my conclusion of it was that what is an ego? An ego can be a guide, right? An ego. So and I understand ego is what the British Psychological Society, and the ego is everything that we are as a mind person. So that's the ego. This is an ego that's talking. The body is not the ego, although it is connected. And so how does the guide become? Well, look at it, right? Now I'm going to bring Darren into this later with his brown bear guide. And so we come into this world, we are kind of like almost an empty sheet of paper, we're white, and then we're attracted to things. I like this, I like that. This makes me different than you, this makes me something else, and I like this, I do that, I do this, I do that, I work this way, I work that way, I sleep like this, I sleep like that, blah, blah, blah. And then before long you've got this identity, and a person who's a conglomeration of likes, dislikes, memories, you know, and that's the ego. And therefore we die as also, so we have a spirit and we have a soul. Spirit is the ego, and the ego we can call back. And that, like for instance, if you was a warrior in your past life and you are in a dangerous situation in this life, you're not a warrior in this life, you're just an ordinary person, suddenly something takes over and you become a superb warrior, and you defeat your enemy, blah, and then you go back on with your life. But have you ever stopped to consider what it was in you that took over that situation? You will say, well, yeah, that's my instincts. But
what spirit entered us?
Yeah, what spirit enters you? And what is we say spirit? What is a spirit? It's a spirit. Every thought we have is energy, and energy cannot be lost. So it's there permanently in the multiple, endless universes and universe. And so it can't be lost. Nothing can be lost. It's forever expanding the universe, and our souls is part of that system. So therefore, we create individual spirits, and I also consider that a spirit can become a soul as well. So, but that's another discussion. And that therefore, I develop a persona in one life, and then another life that becomes my guide in certain situations, or I can develop an imagined guide. And if I keep believing an imagined guide, and the reason I've come to this was because I done a little experiment, and I don't want to lose you, but here's what I'm going to say first before I explain why I think that this is the case. I done a little experiment with one of my friends, Derek Cameron, and a few other things around that as well in other places. But this is just one incident that's convinced me that this is the case. And that is, I'm looking at where he's staying in deep meditation. I've never been to Canada where he lives, and I've never seen what he got. But we done this experiment of astral travelling, and I looked on his table when I got to his place. He was living somewhere, I can't remember now. But what stands out the most was he had an object on his table. And I saw it. It was a hunter with a gun and a dog, and they were hunting food. And but he said to me, no, you got that wrong. He said, that is the Mother Mary, and I prayed to that Mother Mary. And you know what happened there was that he would pray to his Mother Mary that he would be successful in his livelihood.
Spiritual journey as well.
So he had manifested what would you call that? Astral soul into the object, the Mother Mary of the hunter, because that was the energy he was projecting into that. Just like we spoke some time ago about how a ring, we can pick up psychometry from a ring about this. A good reader, psychometry reader, will be able to hold this ring of mine and know everything about me as a person. And I sat in circles and I've seen that, witnessed it for my very self. So it's not questionable to me, but maybe to some of you out there, it is questionable. And if it is questionable, what I say is don't believe me. Find out yourself, go and do what I done, sit in circles, question it, but don't have a negative attitude. Always be unbiased.
Also, always stay in the middle, I always say. Stay in the middle until you have your own experience.
Yeah.
Don't believe, don't accept, don't reject. Stay in the middle.
Just stay in the middle. And so I come to the point where, so he manifested some kind of soul into that object, and we manifest part of our soul, our memories and experiences into these objects. So therefore, we're looking at spirit guides now, and I've looked at other experiments where they've the Humphrey experiment, interesting. Was it Stanford University that they done it, where they done a prison experiment as well? And they would come every day, and this experiment was carried out a few times, and they would sit in a circle and they'd have one seat empty, and all the sitters would focus on that one seat and give it a personality, like though there's a person sat in there. This went on for some time. And after so long, I don't remember all the information, but you can Google it and find out about it.
Google Scholar.
The Humphrey experiment and the Philip experiment. Interesting. And something started manifesting, an energy, an entity started coming to life. And it started taking on certain characteristics, and it was making certain things happen. And so that's interesting. So how does that relate to a spirit guide? Well, you've got Darren. He created his cartoon character as a guide. And there you had Derek. He created the spirit inside the Mother Mary, or the hunter. And then, of course, you've got the Humphrey experiment. And further to this information, which is what, for me, put more, how would I call that? I don't like to use the word belief, but...
Proof?
Yeah?
Proof?
Yeah, more proof. Yeah, that's better. And more proof that it works, where the ancient Tibetan tradition of creating tulpas. And a tulpa, again, is a spirit that comes from the power of your belief. And so you create a spirit, and the spirit, I don't know how the Tibetans use those spirit tulpas, but again, it's another entity that we create by projecting our belief into that being as being real. And then, of course, there was the occult, where I think this information had been around since before history, really, and that people knew about these things a long, long time ago, and they would manifest like spirits, like the occult. They'd put pentagrams on the floor and certain things, and you had to keep it closed or keep it opened or something. And then you knew this, if you was an occult practitioner, you would know what they all represented, what all these symbols represent, by knowing something. And a group of people know this something together, and certain actions know what those certain actions are supposed to manifest from them. Then, of course, they would call up spirits from hell, heaven, or wherever they chose it to come from. Aleister Crowley was a prize example of such a person, involved in the occult. So, I relate all those things to one, human being. We all got our potential, and it's just that spirits just call it their spiritual guides. Mm. And therefore, they use those spirit guides, and they see them in meditation. So, your meditation, again, is another level of existence. This is what psychologists call, as I am now, our conscious level. But science is fast rising up to varying levels of consciousness, and there's a place there, and for instance, what's his name? He takes that ayahuasca, and he goes on to, that's what they do in South America, the shamans. Mm-hmm. And they take ayahuasca, and then they go into another conscious level, and they see things manifesting, snakes and snake beings and things like that. But the strangest thing about that is that when people go on this ayahuasca and they go on to this spiritual level of, and they identify much the same things: snakes, lizard people, snake people, and so they're identifying the same thing, and they're actually there.
Yeah, but can I interrupt you for a minute?
Sure,
because the people you spoke about, ayahuasca, that's a root, isn't it, from the jungle?
Yeah, but
shamans. Because it is in the jungle, those people are surrounded by snakes and lizards. But if somebody in the West who is a Christian would take ayahuasca, would they manifest Christ, Jesus, Mary? Because that brings us to how we manifest things. When somebody like your mom, she died a few times and they brought her back, and she told stories what she would see. But you also hear other people who have the near-death experience, they call it, that some see Jesus, some say Mother Mary, some see. So what we create, what we see, is manifesting that which we have believed in or experienced within this current life. Because not two people from different, let's say, backgrounds will see the same thing. It's colored by our past lives, our experiences, and the beliefs that we hold.
Yeah.
So what you are saying is that you can create a spirit. So you see Jesus because you love Jesus or Mother Mary. But the spirit guides can also be our former self from past lives. Yeah. Because I heard a really interesting talk from Bert van Duin. He shared something very openly about his migraines. And when he has a migraine, he is very ill with it, but then he starts hearing people talk, discussing very interesting subjects. And he's not mentally ill. He's a very healthy, strong man. And he only has that when he has a migraine. So it is as if he is or transported to another dimension. His brain is able to, the migraine makes that possible. Or it is his former selves that are talking. That's interesting, isn't it?
Well, I think after near-death experiences, it's true what you say. And I've come across those situations where a Muslim will see Muslim stuff and a Christian will see Christian stuff and a Hindu will see Hindu stuff. But I can't remember, I'm trying to remember the name of this author. And he actually went and he's done YouTube, he's on YouTube, and you'll see him there. Graham Hancock. It just came to me. I thought I forgot his name. Graham Hancock.
Yeah.
And he wrote a book, and it was about, he went to South America, the Amazon, and he was given this ayahuasca. He wanted to experiment.
Right. Cool.
And
I didn't know.
so he's brought up in the Western tradition, Christianity, and
that's interesting. Yeah.
And he saw.
What did he see?
He saw exactly the same things as what the natives were seeing.
Wow.
So I would say myself, but like you said, this is just my theory on that particular thing, but I'm pretty sure it's probably right. And that those native shamans, that they would, like you say, that they are dealing with snakes and what have you. Mm-hmm. And there is another thing that may come into it as well, is that there are some conspiracy theorists, and when you talk about Graham Hancock, well, he's a scientist, that fella, and he doesn't talk crap.
But people label those people very quickly.
Yeah, the trouble is with conspiracy theory, it tends to make us that we will bypass it and
discredit the person.
We won't even look into it, and that's a lot of things the government don't want you to know about, like for instance the UFOs, and how they called it conspiracy theories. And,
but even more recently, the Hunter Biden laptop, that was a conspiracy theory, had to do with the Russians. Yeah. It's just to discredit.
And then it turns out, like with the UFOs, like, was it 2017, the Pentagon released footage of alien spacecraft chasing after their ships on the ocean and playing around with them, and all kinds of stuff like that. So it becomes fact.
Yeah, but Graham Hancock going to the Amazon and knowing about...
He brought some back with him as well, if I remember right.
But he goes there with already the knowledge of what the others see. He goes there with an expectation, and that might color what you see, isn't it? So if somebody had given him ayahuasca without him knowing, which nobody ever should do, but let's say, only then, because... Is it pure what you see, untainted from another source? Because that is what what science now also comes to see, as soon as we look at an object, it changes the object, because the looking influences. That's why people don't like it when people stare at somebody openly, because it changes your energy field just by somebody looking. We label it now that it's impolite to stare at people, but you feel it, isn't it? That's some people say, I can feel your eyes at the back of my head. So many interesting manifestations are taking place. Everything is in motion all the time, isn't it?
Yeah. But what I think with that Graham Hancock situation is that, well, the reason the conspiracy theory was brought into it in the Graham Hancock situation was that David Icke, he speaks about lizard people.
Yeah, and hasn't he been made fun of?
Yeah,
they slaughtered the man.
They
slaughtered the man.
He was right about so many things, though. Yeah. And he spoke about lizard people and what have you, and owning. Well, this is a bit of an hard one. Our queen is actually a lizard person, but I don't know exactly what he means there. I would have to talk to him. I don't judge anyone negatively, but you should always keep an open mind about, especially somebody like David Icke, because it's turned out he's been right about so many things that he spoke about. If you take a look back in his past, and then he's been right about some. So I think personally that if we're like gods, really, if we can create a tulpa, if we can create energy in a ring and manifestation, we're going to talk about that later as well, and like what happened with the money turning up out of, and a few other things. And I think that we're like gods, and therefore if you have a group of people who sit on this ayahuasca, and let's say it could be just as Graham Hancock seems to suggest, that it's another universe connected to this one, like multiple universes, and that we have the facility by taking ayahuasca to jump into that universe and experience all those things, and people are experiencing that universe.
Is that not a string theory, that parallel lives and different levels? Is that similar?
And not.
We have to look into that then.
I'm not well acquainted with the
I just read
theory.
something about string theory, that's why I ask.
But it's possible, I think, that they may have created a universe, or it was always there. You just don't know, do you?
Yeah, well, that is always what I find interesting. We are here, we are looking, we human beings look like this, we all think that's normal. But we only look like this because it's beneficial in the situations as it is at now on Earth. That's why aliens, people talk about aliens who come from another, let's say, planet or universe, they are in a certain form that's beneficial where they are at. But
what's interesting about the aliens, though, is that I've looked into Dr. Stephen Greer, and he talks about what he call contact CE5, and it's a way of calling up the aliens. And what they do is they go out in the field, and they'll all meditate in the night. They'll use these laser lights, and they'll meditate, and they'll call up these aliens, and they actually made film footage of them bringing in aliens and alien beings and stuff like that. It's exactly the same as what a medium will do in a spiritual circle, where we call up our guide. And an interesting thing that I just thought about then is that calling up demons, for instance, like Aleister Crowley, and if you look at the descriptions of these demons, well, the funny thing about it is that they seem to be the same as these green aliens or grey aliens or something. So
the greys, they call them the greys, yes.
And they are supposed to be, well known in UFO culture, and you can call these aliens up, sat out on the field. Aleister Crowley used to call what they called in them days demons. They had big eyes, and just like these aliens. So it's interesting. Is it another
dimension?
dimension that we can get in touch with, which I think it is, because myself, I've seen UFOs, and you can call them up. So just like spirits,
yeah,
really.
or are it spirits from our own past, or are it spirits from the future?
Yeah.
I mean, we are so fixed in trying to keep it as we think. There is no past, there is no future. Only here exists. It's in a certain concept that's true, but in another way, it's not. There's much more that exists outside of the spectrum that we are able to experience.
Yeah, I think that is, yeah.
Yeah.
So, have we covered it up now on the guides? I think
Spirit guides, yeah. You said you can create them yourself, through belief and working in a group to make that stronger. And spirit guides can be your former selves from past lives that come here to assist you when you need them. Because one more thing I would like to share. I never did I? No. When I was in the lowest of the lowest, I hit rock bottom and I became so ill that I was lying on the floor. And I was lying in fetus position, and I've never cried like that ever, before or since. Total desperation, and I surrendered, because although I'm raised a Catholic, I'm not a participating Catholic. I'm open to all, as long as it has to do with love. The message is love. That's where I am at. And at that moment, I looking back, because in a moment of desperation you don't know you're surrendering, but I spoke words like, whatever is out there, I need help. And I would never ask for help. I was the person who always needed to control everything, including myself. So asking for help was something I wouldn't do. I would solve it myself, and I need help. I just need help. And a really deep peace entered me, as a feeling I never had before. It just as if it left me, whatever the hardship, the desperation, like a dam opened and it flooded out, and a peace entered me, but also a voice.
Spirit.
So although I didn't see anything, I heard a voice, and it was as if it was outside of me, but I later on it sounded in my head, and it said, just everything will be all right.
Yeah,
really,
I have the same thing.
And it's a dark voice. Everything will be all right. Everything will, very soothing. Everything will be all right.
I wonder how many of you out there had that experience.
Yeah, if you had it, leave a comment down below. And don't be afraid for judgment of other people. We won't think you're mad because we have experienced it. I'm not mad, not more than anybody else. But that voice, until I met Ozay, after I met Ozay, I never heard that voice, but until I met Ozay, the voice came 2 or 3 times more again in a situation that I started, how am I going to get through this? And then the voice would, it will be all right. Everything, and it speaks like that as well. Everything will be all right. Really assuring, the vibration of the voice, and a peace would enter straight away with that, and total trust. And
it's all letting go.
And we don't like to use the word trust very easily. No. It's very misunderstood often, but it would really comfort me. Totally comfort, total.
It's a letting go.
Yeah.
It's a letting go, and because we're always trying to control in some way or another, and it's tension all the time.
Yeah. Some people will say it's the voice of God.
Yeah, it is the voice of God.
Yeah.
Because once you let go means no thought, no fear of no instincts kicking off. You're empty. Once you let go, you're empty. It's all cleared out. Yeah. And then you become divine space.
Another interesting question pops in my mind then is, why is it a male voice? Why not a female voice? Is it a male I have been myself before? Or are my associations for feeling safe, connected to a male idea. So there's lots of things to look at, but not really important now. But just hearing that voice helped me to get through a very difficult period in my life. And the voice has never appeared again, because now I find that comfort and safety in your presence.
Yeah.
So that's why the voice doesn't show up.
And of course, I know spiritual mediums will call that a guide. They came inside you and guided you into safety.
Yeah.
And that's how a lot of it works. So
it's very interesting.
Yes, it is interesting.
Yeah.
And if you've got any comments about it, because we are interested, and maybe we can make another discussion from.
Yeah. And please check out the channel of Bert van Duin with his wife Tammy's channel, because it's a really interesting talk there about his migraines and how he can overhear conversations while he is waiting until the migraine disappears.
In the old days, they would have said schizophrenia and stuff like that. But like you said,
nothing wrong with him.
He's a normal, everyday guy, and
very down to earth. Australian, a builder. I mean, he's a man. He's a man's man. Yeah. And,
right, I think that's it then. Is there anything else we need to say about
No,
guides?
we see you back for our third talk.
Oh yeah, there is one last thing that comes to me.
Okay.
A guide is a manifestation of the energy where you're at. And if you have evil presences or angel presences, it reflects the moods that you reach, the highs and the lows. And evil, we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, that's one of our next talks.
For me, evil, there's no such thing as evil for me personally, and I'll tell you why in the next video.
That's right. Okay. So before we go, let's ask the people to subscribe. It will help our channel grow. We don't set out to get hundreds of thousands of subscribers, because
we won't.
Where we come from, it is if one person is helped by one of our talks, is job well done.
Yeah.
But it's nice to know if you have benefited from anything we speak about. So subscribe, hit the bell and comment. And if you want to buy us a coffee, always welcome. There's a link next to the video. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, adios. Goodbye,
Till the
everyone.
next one. Bye.
Bye.